Hi, Amy.
Hi, B.
We watched last night Before the 90 Days, Season 7, Episode 4. And we also have bonus content at the end of this podcast covering The Other Way, Season 6, Episode 12.
And
And,
the reveal.
oh, the reveal. Let's get right to it. You may have seen on our social media that we have a very special announcement to make. So stay tuned until the end of this episode. Yes, we are going to make you wait to find out who that person is. And I promise you won't want to miss this exciting news, which we're thrilled to share with all of our listeners.
Super excited.
Very thrilled. I want to say it so badly, but I'm not going to. Wait,
Not yet.
Calm.
Well, you can wait, but our listeners can fast forward because, this
Why would
is
they want to
obviously
do
not
that?
live. Well, you just so they can hear it and then go back.
Oh, of course. That works. Yes.
Yes.
I should mention also, you can now visit our YouTube channel at 90 Day Fiancé, honestly, to see this podcast in video, if you like. No comments?
Sometimes I don't want to be recorded, but now we're doing it. So
we're doing it. And besides, if you are a cat lover, you can see all kinds of crazy cat antics because the cats always make an appearance when we're recording.
You can
especially
see
Scotch, who is right there.
He's wearing a t-shirt.
Scotch is the coolest. How many cats wear t-shirts willingly?
He loves it.
Let's get started. Okay. We began this week with Tigerlily and Adnan, and it's their wedding day. I still cannot believe that any of this is real. How is it actually happening?
Now I can't stop laughing. It was just the most ridiculous series of events with this couple. It was Anyway, please go ahead.
All I wanted to say at the outset is when we find out that there are over 200 people coming to the wedding, who's paying for this? I really want the details. It's so interesting that they're having this extremely lavish, extremely large wedding, and he's only 22. Is she footing the bill?
Obviously. But
okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if she just, gave him a credit card. And said, here, do whatever you want. Because, they haven't talked about finances. Because why would they?
Because why would they?
Maybe he has more money than she does. How is she supposed to know? But I mentioned this last week. He's planned this entire thing, but he let her pick out her outfit.
Yes.
Okay, great. That's lovely. Mm-hmm. But yes, who is paying for this?
So many questions, and we don't know any of the answers, unfortunately.
Well, neither does she.
No. And she doesn't seem to care.
No.
She doesn't really care about what's coming, what's happening, who's going to the wedding, what she has to wear, what the rules are. As long as she's
two people going to this wedding, who are her hairstylist and her makeup artist.
Right.
2 people. So 198 people are on his side.
Approximately. I know, it's just so strange. It's so weird. And when we open the scene, we're seeing that Adnan is saying that Tigerlily can no longer be alone with her friend, who is her hairstylist, who has been doing her hair for 20 years because of these new rules that he's imposing on her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I guess I can understand it. We saw a hint of that last week when she had the stylist from the hotel come up to her room, and that did not go over well. But after Adnan leaves, Tigerlily goes to the door of her hotel because there's a knock, and she's wearing her robe, and she welcomes in 2 strange men who, it turns out, are people that Adnan has sent over to be the photographers for the wedding. So the hotel room is now full of men, and this was his choice? Huh?
How much do you want to bet he just hired videographers and he didn't specify that they needed to be women? Because even the videographer, when they tried to kick him out, he was like, I do this all the time. This is what we do.
Yeah. I can't help feeling that there's some kind of disconnect. that Adnan is giving her these rules, and yet he's allowing for things to happen which do not conform to those rules. So what is it? Is it just his overlooking details, or is it a question of these rules don't really exist, they're just being imposed for the sake of the show to create some kind of conflict?
And he seems like the kind of guy that would impose these rules after marriage and then just unilaterally create them along the way when it's convenient for him.
And what did you think of the way that she was reacting to the rules when she said that she thought that Adnan's imposing rules are actually super cute?
No. Oh, it means he really loves me. Okay, well, that's what someone who has suffered severe abuse would say. No, it's not cute that he wants to be controlling and possessive and no, that's not cute. And this kid is half your age, dude. Like,
I know. It's very painful to watch. It's so obvious that she's living in some kind of a fantasy world. She's kidding herself. This situation is the definition of controlling. And yet, as we've heard many, many times before, she doesn't want to be controlled. It's the reason why she got divorced in the first place. I think that pretty soon, all of these cutesy things that she finds about Adnan and his rules are going to be too constraining for her. And I think eventually she's going to find it very, very impossible to deal with, and she will eventually revolt against it somehow.
I don't know. I'm not sure she will revolt, but I did note that her hairstylist said your ex was controlling and that's why you left, and now she's walking right back into it again. And she even said that she wasn't even allowed to have friends. She's never been to a wedding before because she had no friends. And yet now he's trying to cut off your friendship with your hairstylist of 20 years. Come on.
I know.
But that's cute.
It's contradictory. I know. I mean, come on. But then when she says the stuff, the very funny stuff that she says about men, did you catch this?
I'm not sure.
Yes. Men are born with the knowledge of what to do in the bedroom.
Yes.
It's totally caveman stuff. So they're just born with it. It's innate knowledge. Can't be erased, can't be forgotten. It's just there. And they know what to do. Nobody tells them.
Because every single woman is the exact same.
Oh my God.
Sorry, that was dripping with sarcasm. I'm not sure if my voice said that or not. But when she said this, I had to rewind it, and I'm like, do you actually believe that?
Yeah.
How
can she?
Are you that diluted?
Good word. It's awful.
It is.
It's really, really awful.
Oh.
Anyway.
This woman drives me nuts. The way she speaks drives me nuts.
The baby voice.
It's not just the baby voice. It sounds like she's on a ton of Ativan and she's like trying to search for her words as she's talking.
Maybe she is.
I mean, with that amount of money. It's so difficult to listen to her speak, but it's almost like I have a bizarre fascination with her because you never know what's going to come out of her mouth next.
This was the best thing that we've heard her say so far. That men are born with the knowledge of what to do in the bedroom.
Yes, I think you're right. I was going to say
so ridiculous.
My notes say otherwise, but no, I think you're right. And then I had that vision of what it would have actually been like as a caveman, and is that how your sex went?
Well, she seems happy.
Caveman-esque.
All I can picture is somebody being dragged along by their hair in that cartoonish way that we see in caveman cartoons. To me, this is not good, but whatever floats her boat, I guess.
And then she ends it by saying, that, she's confused by a lot of things, but they have the rest of their lives to figure it out.
Cringe.
What do you? No, that's
Figure it out before. Before the wedding, not after the wedding.
No, this is the
Hello.
word of the Lord.
Oh, Jesus. These two are doomed. I'll say it now. I'll stand behind it. They're doomed.
I really, really hope that this is fake, only because I might feel bad for her if she loses half her money.
Oh. I will not.
She's
I walking.
Might. I might.
Okay. All right. The wedding itself, which we're going to see next week, we didn't get to see it yet, looks like it's huge, it's lavish, it's over the top. Totally suits them, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't be a better suited wedding to who they are as people.
She looked so stressed out. Like on the car on the way there, or in the car on the way there with everyone honking at them. He's like, oh, it's for us. Is your driver driving like an idiot? But then they get there and it's almost like a red carpet event, and they're the stars that are showing up, like all these photographers and getting swarmed, and her face, even though her face doesn't move very much, you can still see that she's like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's a bit much.
It's what she wanted.
Yeah. But he's not controlling, even though he organized the entire thing.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. She's free to do anything she wishes with anyone she wishes.
Except for men?
Except for all the men.
All of them.
All of them.
All right. Well, it doesn't narrow it down at all. Just, 50% of the population.
Let's move on.
Please. Yes.
Brian and Ingrid.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, there is so much to say.
Oh, this was awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
The next morning when they wake up, he's already pressing her again with questions about all of the wheelchair stuff. Is it too much for you? Can you handle it? Are you feeling overwhelmed?
I think she was a little uncomfortable.
You think? Just
un petit
peu. Wee bit. Petit peu. Yes, she's overwhelmed because you haven't told her a single thing about what your life is actually like, what you're actually capable of doing, what she will actually have to do for you when you were there. The picture that he painted to her before she came was so completely different than what she is experiencing. And you can tell that just by her reactions, her shock, and the way she's talking about, he told me he was self-sufficient. He was independent. The only thing that was different about him from other men is that he has a wheelchair. That's the only thing. But it's not. There's so much more to this. And Brian has been withholding vital information from Ingrid in order to get her on the hook.
He's so calculated and manipulative.
Yeah.
Obviously we know that he didn't tell her up front because he knows that she would have left. But what really got me was, I think it was in the first scene, he says that after he says that she was very likely a little uncomfortable, he says he hopes that she catches up quickly. Even though you're fully capable of doing all these, the majority of these things on your own, you can get dressed on your own, you can shower on your own, all of these things you don't need her help with. But you're making her do all these things because you want her to be your caregiver. So manipulative.
Yeah.
So
and
awful.
It gets worse. When they're driving to Ingrid's hometown, she starts asking some questions of Brian, and he begins to tell the truth or something close to the truth. We're not quite sure. First of all, it comes out that Brian reveals his true age. He's 51. Ingrid's dad is 54, so she's a little bit shocked. And is revealed to us that he has actually lied about his age, because on the dating apps where they met, he put his age as 43 2 years ago. So she thinks that he's now 45. She's really taken aback by the fact that he's older than he said he was. And Brian immediately calls her
Crazy.
crazy. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
The
You're
gaslighting.
crazy.
The immediate gaslighting.
You're crazy because I lied about my age. You're crazy.
Mm-hmm. You're crazy. Why would I lie about my age? I'm totally comfortable with it. I told you that you were the same age as my daughter. Why would I lie?
But the fact that she may be close to his daughter's age does not reveal how old he is. Precisely.
No.
It's still not a number. It's just I have a daughter who's about the same age as you. The way that he skirts around the truth, I found it really, really
disturbing.
Despicable. Yes, disturbing too. He says he never told her that he was younger than his real age. Lie. Lie. Why would she think that you were 5 years younger than you are?
She obviously made it up because she's crazy.
Yeah. And so Ingrid, in this moment, is understandably very afraid of what she might learn next about Brian. And frankly, so am I, because he is definitely hiding stuff. So her next questions are, how did you end up in a wheelchair? What's your story?
You never actually told me.
Yeah. And I was very curious to see if he would tell her the truth now, finally. And what he does tell her is sort of the truth. It's next to the truth adjacent, right?
Mm-hmm.
He says he sold drugs before. We know that's true. But he says it in a way as if it's as normal and natural as selling cars or selling insurance. Yeah, I sold drugs. What's there to be upset about that? And he makes it seem as if he was forced into selling and doing drugs, that someone made him do it, that someone coerced him into doing it. And he blames his ex-wife, who was his wife at the time, as being that person.
And he also said that he was drinking a 2-4 of beer and 3 grams of Coke a day. That is so expensive. And I mean, obviously awful for you.
Yes.
But that's like, the addiction is high.
Yeah.
The addiction is very, very high. And also very expensive. So, and he said, he had a pretty excellent bankroll. He made more money than everyone in his entire family put together, and just him trying to rationalize it to her obviously didn't work, because she's like, I've never done drugs. And as you said, he says it so casually, as if he's just, just dealing weed to his friends on a casual basis. No, this guy himself is doing 3 grams of Coke a day. If he can afford to do that, you can only imagine the amount of money that he's bringing in.
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, I've never bought it before,
Totally.
so I don't really know how much it costs, but I know that it's a lot of money.
Then he starts talking about the actual event of how he got shot. He says that his ex-wife arranged the hit on him because he had told her that he wanted to get out of that lifestyle. Lie.
I'm sure he told her that.
And so he kind of makes himself into an innocent victim. He wanted out of the lifestyle. His ex-wife didn't want him to go, so she arranged for him to be shot and possibly killed. You're leaving out a rather large chunk of the story, which is that you were in another relationship. You were cheating on her at the time. We know this because it's all over the internet.
And didn't he steal like a key of Coke when he left too? Am I making that up?
I don't know about that one. I hadn't read about that one yet, but the overlapping relationships seems to be a common theme in his life. It happens many times over.
Okay,
So
well,
he was
forget I
cheating.
said anything about the other drugs, but
He was definitely cheating. And yes, sometimes this gives people cause to go out and hire somebody to hurt you, which obviously is wrong, but still, you're not an innocent who's just saying to your wife, I want to stop dealing drugs. I want to get out of this lifestyle. And then she goes and gets you shot. There's a little bit more to it. And he doesn't tell that piece of the story to Ingrid. And he says to Ingrid that it shouldn't make any difference to her whether or not he was a drug dealer. So it's on her. It's on Ingrid, not on him, that she's being judgmental.
She's intolerant.
Oh, she's so intolerant. My goodness. I mean, next he's going to be asking her to accept the fact that he cheats. Is it not up to Ingrid to make that decision for herself, if this makes a difference to her or not, that he was a drug dealer, that there was a hit out on him, all of this information, which he's withheld for so long, it's been 3 years, correct?
I think so.
That he's unloading on her now after he's just unloaded all of the reality of what it's like for him to be in a wheelchair and how much she'll have to do with him and for him. Give her some time, some space to process this.
Nope.
Don't immediately make it seem like she's the bad guy because she's having a reaction of not knowing how to handle the information, not knowing how to process all of this stuff that's just come out. His attitude towards her, all of this stuff is irrelevant. I'm a different person now. But he never gave her the choice to make up her own mind.
Just like he didn't give her the choice when it came to quote unquote taking care of him. Well, maybe not even quote unquote, but taking care of him and the reality of what it's like living with his condition and being with somebody with his condition. He doesn't give her the opportunity. He just steamrolls her.
Yeah.
Tries to force her into the situation because it's what he wants and not what she wants. But she seems to have her head on straight.
She does. I really admired the way that she was taking her time, that she was being very clear to the camera about wanting to understand this, wanting to be patient, wanting to be thorough, because she's got kids involved in this. She has 2 children, as well as herself to consider. And what he's been doing to her is very, very concerning. I really don't like this side of Brian that we're seeing. It's incredibly manipulative. And he's very deliberately trying to make himself into the victim while she is the persecutor, the judgmental person. Because he says things like, oh, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be understanding. I'm going to let her figure it out and let her not be judgmental. I'm sorry. You just put your girlfriend into a very, very difficult situation when you withheld all of this essential information about who you are.
On purpose. It's just so conniving.
Yeah. Gross.
You know, we've had this before. I mean, it's actually a very common theme where couples don't tell each other very important things before they come to visit. But this one's pretty awful.
Yeah. But it gets worse.
Of course it does.
Because then we go to Loren and Faith.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Okay. So we start off innocently enough, them going to the market, and Loren is going to check his wallet first to see how much money he has. He has brought precisely $47 with him to the Philippines.
I thought it was 46.
47, I believe.
Either way, it's a load of cash. Load of cash.
Yeah.
To fly around the world with. Halfway around the world.
Now, he claims that there's more money coming into his bank account. But
or there should be.
There should be. There should be.
Choke on my coffee.
But it's very clear that either he expects Faith to help him out to pay for stuff, or he thinks that the Philippines is so incredibly cheap that what he has in his pocket, his $47, will be enough, which is incredibly dumb, but
Yes.
my money is on the former. I think he's being impulsive, and I think that the fact that he goes and buys all of these things for Faith, even with such a tiny budget, means that he thinks that she is eventually going to start paying for everything.
Oh, he was so giddy about the exchange rate.
I know.
So giddy about it. And did you see the way that he like held himself a little taller when he was walking through the market? Like he just looked so pompous. So proud. Like, oh
got
yes, I'm gonna treat you
$47,
to
man.
this. I'm
Come
gonna
on.
treat you to this. But he still spent like what, $6 while he was out? Like
I'm
that
not exactly sure how much it was, but yeah.
it's like 10% of what you've got. Like, come on.
I don't understand how he thinks that he's going to be financially stable living in the Philippines when he doesn't have a job there
In the
or
States.
in the States. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a job.
But do you know how easy it's going to be for him to get like a remote computer job?
Oh, that stuff was hilarious.
If it's that easy, then why haven't you done it yet? Why are you working 3 part-time jobs and living in your car?
Well, exactly. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the question on everybody's minds. And the answer is because he doesn't actually have the qualifications that he would need in order to get this imaginary job.
But you know, there are so many other things that he could be doing.
Oh, like pest control.
Yes.
Sure. You don't
Or
speak any Filipino. And
let's tag along.
Tagalog, sorry, I just realized that as I was saying it. He doesn't speak any Tagalog, and he expects that he's going to get a job just like that.
And working at a shop. Mm.
Oh, yes. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So Loren says that he's told Faith a little bit about his financial situation. And then they go to meet this friend of Faith's, Mama Ding, and she is going to open the book and reveal everything because she's going to ask the questions that we all want to know the answers to, like, what is your plan, Loren?
But first, may I?
Yes, do.
That chicken adobo looked delicious. I would have just absolutely demolished everything that was on that table. The food in this segment was just so good. And it reminded me that I actually have lumpia, which is Filipino spring rolls, in my freezer. So I will be eating those for lunch. So I got very hungry when I was watching this. But you know, I have to pause and mention the food, especially the Filipino food I'm familiar with to, you know, a basic degree. But anyway, Mama Ding she was on point with this.
Love Mama Ding.
She was so sweet. And what
Yeah.
a lovely spread for like she lives in a hotel storeroom or storage room, and she still ended up making this absolutely gorgeous meal for them. It was beautiful.
So
Anyway,
what
sorry.
is Loren's plan? Let's get back to the question.
He doesn't. Well, he wants to stay in the Philippines because
Uh-huh.
you know, now he's just throwing money around like he's Bill Gates. Like, oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
I can buy you anything you want.
Just stay. Don't need a visa. Don't need a work permit. Don't need anything like that. Nope. I'm just going to stay. I think I might stay.
And then Mama Ding's like, do you know how difficult it is to get a work visa over here? Because it is. No, of course he doesn't. He hasn't done any research.
Nope. And Faith, meanwhile, knows nothing about this. She has not discussed with Loren the fact that he wants to stay in the Philippines. She was under the impression that they were going to be moving to the US, of course. Naturally. But next, Loren decides to reveal that he is homeless. And this news is not well received.
No, it is not.
Faith was not told anything remotely close to the whole story about Loren. And now she's getting completely ambushed by what he's telling her. It's insane. It's awful. Her face drops so many times in this scene. You can feel how disappointed she is.
And then
How
she
upset.
recovers, and then it drops again.
Yeah. So Mama Ding says something I think which is pretty interesting. She believes in this moment that Loren may be using Faith to move to the Philippines because Faith has a stable job, a stable income, and so he could take advantage of that. Which I think is a viable way to perceive this whole situation.
Absolutely.
And Loren says if he moves, he will get this imaginary online job in the US paying $15 to $17 an hour. And like you said, why didn't he do this before? No, he doesn't have the qualifications. Everything that he says is just crap.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is just made up BS. Then he talks about how he's going to accept Faith for who she is. And so this is all that matters. And Faith takes that same line, saying all they need really is a relationship that is built on love, which, okay, I can sort of understand. Maybe that might work. However, again, Loren is keeping more secrets because Faith still doesn't know that he wants to have an open relationship with her.
And
So,
it's blatantly obvious that he's fetishizing her.
mm-hmm.
Am I even saying that correctly? It doesn't sound right.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Fetishizing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Her.
Yeah.
But no, it's all about love. No, it's not.
I know the idealism in her face, in her words, is just so heartbreaking because you know that each little thing that he destroys, every little brick that he tears down from her idea of how their relationship is built and what their relationship means, it's going to be devastating to her when she finds out that he's been cheating on her. It's going to be devastating even more when she finds out that he wants to have an open relationship. He's led Faith down the garden path every single step of the way. And my heart goes out to her. This is devastating.
And it only gets worse.
And it only gets worse because Loren has gonorrhea. Yuck. Okay. So how do you tell Faith that? Oh, it's not good timing. Oh, this is really not great for my relationship with Faith. You think?
Just thank whoever, thank the universe that she was so diligent about having separate rooms.
Yeah.
From the very beginning.
Oh, yes.
Could you imagine?
Mm-mm.
Nope. I don't want to.
Nope. The situation is a total yike.
Yeah.
How is he going to get medication? Can he get it in the Philippines? Will he spend the rest of whatever's left of his $47 on medicine so that he can treat himself? How long must he now not come into any kind of intimate contact with Faith before he's totally better and no longer contagious? This is so scary.
You say this with a giant smile on your face.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
This guy's just an absolute train wreck. Such a train wreck.
Yes. I think my joy stems from the fact that I really like it when people get what's coming to them. And this guy, he's kind of not nice.
No.
He's kind of a lot not nice.
He's disgusting. He's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. And I think Faith deserves so much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that concludes my rant on those two.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. Let's meet Niles and Matilda, our next new couple. Niles is on the spectrum for autism. He admits, I have trouble with relationships, and he is also very sensitive to noise, light, and smell.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. He has a full-time job. He works as a peer advocate. Fantastic. And despite his disability, he also has a part-time job doing deliveries. And yet Loren, perfectly able person, not so much. So Niles and Matilda have known each other for 2 years. He's going to be going to Ghana, where she lives, in a week. Oh, I didn't mention their ages. He's 27, she's 23. He's going to Ghana in a week. He's going to meet her for the first time. And I'm so impressed because this must be such a challenging move for somebody with his sensitivities, let alone being on the spectrum. What did you feel about this new couple?
Well, first of all, I felt bad for the bacon.
Oh,
when he
the poor
overcooked the
bacon.
bacon. Yeah. And he set off the fire alarm.
Yep.
I think she's steamrolling him. I think she's using him for a green card. The fact that she keeps pushing for the wedding and he's actually afraid of how she's going to react, I think that's very telling.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be very sad for him.
Yeah.
I hope that he is able to stand strong within himself to be able to tell her that he's not comfortable with it. So, but I wonder if he will or not, because, you know, he just wants to be loved. And I don't know if he would give that up because she's so, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Well, she's very imposing.
Insistent. Well, that too.
Insistent, imposing. She does have, I understand where she's coming from with this insistence on the wedding, because he did propose to her about 5 months ago online. And so now she's kind of running with that idea and thinking that as soon as he comes to Ghana, that they're going to get married during this trip. And yeah, he is really scared. I understand his hesitation to get married on this trip. It's, of course, something that we've been looking for in all of our couples, this natural need to know more about the person and the relationship before you actually marry them and devote your life.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's so important to make the right choice. He recognizes that. He wants to take his time. He doesn't want to get married on this trip. But yeah, she is strong-arming him into this choice. Well, not really his choice, but this decision by saying things like, oh, you're not going to disappoint me. So passive-aggressive.
This wedding is happening. Do not disappoint me.
Yeah.
Oh. That's going to make him feel so much more comfortable in having this conversation with you.
Yeah. I mean, I think she's clued into the fact that he is hesitant, and she's just not going to let that happen. She's not going to let anything stand in her way. She's having this marriage, this wedding, come hell or high water, and he's going to have to lump it.
And she's going to move to the States and get her green card.
Yeah, naturally. Shall we move on?
Yes.
We have Sunny and Veah up next. We don't really see him except on the video call. It's more about her. Okay, I have a cat. Excuse me. Excuse me. So she's getting home from work. And riddle me this. How do you work as a physical therapist? That's what she says she is, with those talons, those long, long nails. Something's up with that.
I don't believe it.
Because I've had physical therapy and nobody had any nails whatsoever. Nope. It's not possible.
No. Absolutely not.
Something is up. Okay. Watch this space. Next is the question of Sunny's religion. He's Muslim. He does not really observe the rules of Islam, but his parents do. Oh, yes. So we have a couple of issues with them staying in the same hotel room, which is the plan when she goes to South Africa. And also, his parents want him to marry somebody who is Muslim.
This reminds me a lot of, Jenny and Sumin.
Yeah.
Are the parents going to get in the way of their relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Will he ever leave his parents? Probably not, even though Sumin basically did. Yeah, this is not going to work out well, especially because, you know, she's bringing her ex-boyfriend and Sunny still doesn't know
that he's going.
Yeah. This is going to blow up in her face.
It totally will. Yeah. We see a little bit more of Rory in this episode, and there were one or two things that really stuck out for me. One is just something that Veah mentioned about herself. She said she used to live in a trailer park. And I'm fascinated by that because definitely there's been a huge change in her circumstances. She lives in a really nice house. She has very nice things. She's got her car. She's got her dog. How did she manage to go from trailer park to this beautiful large house when she is definitely not a physical therapist? And then the second thing is that she tells us that she and Rory actually had been pregnant, but she lost the baby. So there is way more history between these two than we initially knew of.
But didn't her brother die and then she lost the baby? So it was like, it was a mounting situation for her. That's so difficult.
But the fact that Rory is the person that she's choosing to go with her on this trip to meet Sunny is made even worse by the fact that Sunny now, or probably knew or will know at some point, that this man was a potential father to her child that she lost. It just makes it so much worse.
Mm-hmm. The trauma bond between her and Rory is so strong. I think she really needs to go to therapy and possibly reconsider her relationship with Rory, because he doesn't seem like a bad guy.
He doesn't. No. Yeah, and I don't know why that is that they're not dating anymore. Maybe they just had too many emotional things happening after the miscarriage. But it's nice that they've remained friends. However, for the first time meeting the man that you are potentially going to marry, I do not think it's a good idea to bring along your ex. Hello, kitty cat. Perfect. Have you anything more to say about this strange and mysterious couple?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
not about this couple.
We did not see Renee and Chitty this week. So all that remains for before the 90 days for this week was to actually talk about next week, when we have the Adnan extravaganza continuing. The wedding is all about him.
Mm-hmm.
Niles is going to travel to Ghana, and Brian is going to turn on the crocodile tears in order to change Ingrid's opinion of him. Yeah.
And tell her that he is gonorrhea.
That's Brian, not Loren.
Oh, my mistake.
Renee is going to blame Chitty's blindness on fate because, as she says, if he could see, she wouldn't be there. Wow. I think self-centeredness has reached a new level of outrageous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Self-importance.
And yes, Loren will explain his wonderful medical condition to Faith, and she's going to take it just as well as can be expected, I'm sure.
With a huge smile on his face, in public.
What is wrong with him?
What? So many things.
And the moment that we've all been waiting for, Rory and Veah are going to arrive in South Africa. How's this going to go? Don't know.
It's going to be a great episode. I really enjoyed this episode. Actually, there was so much going on, so many concerning things, and I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
It really
positivity.
It took the boredom away. I was entrenched. Engaged. I was engaged in this episode, and I look forward to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I think, honestly, production. You guys are.
They're pulling out all the stops this year.
I don't even know how to describe it. Like, your casting is nuts, but I'm enjoying it. So you clearly know what you're doing, but it's still
concerning.
I don't know. Yes.
Okay, let's move on to our bonus content. This week, it's The Other Way, Season 6, Episode 12. Starting off with the lovely Sean and Joanne in Ireland. They go to the pub, just the adults. So Sean, Joanne, and Noelle, because it's time for Noelle to really sit down with Sean, assess who he is and his relationship with Joanne, and to ask some very hard questions like, where are things going? What are your intentions? The usual things. And everything that comes out of his mouth and Joanne's mouth is a lie. Why don't they tell her at this moment straight out, we are already married and we haven't told the kids yet or anybody else, so please don't let the cat out of the bag. We plan to do that tomorrow.
I don't understand their purpose or like the reasoning behind them keeping it a secret, especially for so long.
Yeah.
And also why they didn't tell said friend who went to Ireland with them. You'd figure they'd give her a heads up. Yes, I agree with you. Definitely should have told her.
The fact that they're outright hiding the truth from Noelle after all of her direct questions, her very pointed questions, is concerning to me. Because if I was her, I would feel so embarrassed. I would feel like a total fool the moment I found out that I'd had this heart-to-heart with the couple, and yet all of my perceptions that we were being honest and straightforward with each other, all of that was a lie because they're already married. And why didn't they tell me that? I would just feel like a total fool. And this is supposed to be your closest friend? Why would you do that to her? I don't know.
I got nothing.
So the visit to the castle, which happens the next day, is the moment that we have all been waiting for. Everything is going to be revealed. It's about bloody time. And I found this whole situation kind of funny because it's like they're the kids and they have to tell their parents a piece of uncomfortable information when it's actually them as adults telling the kids this piece of uncomfortable information. And that to me really summed it up because Sean and Joanne have been acting like kids.
It's like the Tata and Josh, but the opposite.
Yeah. Very much so.
Is that his name? Josh?
No. Josh is Josh and Lily. Tata and James.
James.
But we know who you're talking about.
Yes.
I think that Noelle hits the nail on the head when she asks the most obvious question of all, why? Why has this been under wraps for so long? And Joanne's answer is that, well, they just wanted all of the kids to meet and for everybody to get along before they revealed this crucial piece of information that they're already married. Which begs the question, then why not let everybody meet before you get married to make sure they get along and that you're making a sound and reasonable choice?
Nope. Why would they do that?
Doesn't make any sense to me.
No. And then she also asks why he hasn't been to the States. And he comes out with this rich comment that he has been to the States, but he got banned because he overstayed. And he got banned for 3 years. Well, they've been married for 2 and have been together for at least 3. So.
Exactly. Another
where are we at?
Great question. Exactly. I think there's more to that story. But let's focus on the kids for a second because they are really the most important part of this scene. And they are definitely overwhelmed. I would assume that the way that they feel in this moment with their mom and their Bella's dad saying we're already married is that they feel left out, they feel marginalized, they feel confused, generally hurt.
Unloved.
Yeah. And Joey, ever the smart kid, says the most poignant thing of all when he says his mom has always told him that he can always talk to her about anything. And yet she is not doing that same thing to her children and setting an example by her own behavior because she has not told them this very, very important thing and kept it a secret for 2 years.
Yeah. Way to break your trust with your children. Actually, break the trust with all of the children, not just your own.
Yep. So that is the extent of what I wrote down about them.
And then, so he said that, I forget what he was saying something about how he has to appease all of the people. Sean was talking about appeasing all of the people and how he had to appease Bella and Bella's mom. But does Bella's mom have anything to do with her? Because he has full custody.
Yeah, he said he's a full-time dad.
Okay, so then why did he say that he needed to appease Bella's mom? Can he even move to the States with Bella? And I know that hasn't even been discussed. It was Joanne going to Ireland. But I didn't know that Bella's mom was in the picture, so I was confused when he brought that up.
It is confusing. Don't know.
Okay, I wasn't sure if I missed something.
No, not enough information. Again, like the visa thing, we get presented with a little kernel of information, but not enough is fleshed out for us to really understand why is it that he hasn't been to the US? Why is it that he got kicked out? There's got to be more to it.
Mm-hmm. I think the best part was when Joanne was looking at Bella and she's like, I think Bella needs a minute.
Yeah.
I think all of the children need a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and Sean need to go for a timeout to think about what you've done. But a timeout in the corner facing your children so you can see the disappointment and hurt on their faces.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to have to pay for this. And I would not want to pay that price. That's awful to know that you've disappointed and hurt your own kids.
They did not think this through.
No, they didn't. They were thinking with the fancy pants and not the brains.
Yeah. My heart broke for those kids, though. Just their faces.
Yeah.
How could you sit through that? How could you bring that onto them or put that onto them? And it's just so sad.
Yeah.
Way to be so selfish. Good job, guys. Good job, team.
Let's go to Dempsey and Statler. We only have 2 couples left, and these scenes were incredibly short. So there's not all that much to talk about, except as I was watching the Dempsey and Statler scenes, I was keeping in mind what you said last week about the fact that Dempsey was egging Statler on or poking. You said poking at her. Poking at her, yes. And we see that Dempsey asks something pretty reasonable at the beginning. She says, if you're feeling anxious to Statler, let me know so I can give you the space. Okay, great. I love that. But then Statler doesn't want to talk. She's feeling completely overwhelmed. And instead of listening to that, Dempsey pokes and pokes and pokes a little bit more. It's so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
I understood her desire to want to resolve this with Statler right now. But Statler very clearly and repeatedly said, I need to stop talking about this. Can we just postpone until we get onto land? I'm overwhelmed. Please just be quiet. And Dempsey could not.
Nope.
And in that moment, I really felt the incompatibility of this couple because they cannot hear each other, nor can they give each other what the other needs at all.
Yep, I agree. I found it so uncomfortable because I've been in Statler's position before where you're just so overwhelmed with anxiety. And Dempsey was saying something about her being snappy. And I found before I was diagnosed with ADHD, I got super snappy, but I didn't know why. But then I found out that it was, I was just overwhelmed and I didn't know how else to express it. So I was just like short tempered, but it was the anger was just, it's just how my anxiety was exhibiting itself. So I really, really felt for her in this moment. Actually, for most of their scenes recently. But something that stuck out to me the most was Dempsey actually said something to Statler. I forget what Statler had said, but she said, it's not that you have anxiety. Okay. It's really difficult for you to tell someone that they don't have anxiety when you don't have any of your own, because you're a free spirit and you do whatever you want. And, you'll get a job when you need one. It doesn't matter what job, you'll find a job at some point. And she's, her lackadaisical attitude just drives me nuts. I liked her at first, but now no, I can't.
Understood.
She doesn't get it. And then nitpicking drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's hard. Both of them are hard to take.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them are very different people from each other. And I think that really just the underlying not being able to listen to each other or hear each other or understand each other is ultimately what's going to kill them. Well, not literally kill them, but their relationship.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay. Just checking.
I got you. Yeah.
Let's go to Josh and Lily.
Okay.
Lily's explaining this Chinese tradition of putting red sheets on the bed before you get married and explaining to Josh that it's actually good luck and tradition that they make love on a red bed. Okay. So it's clear Lily is sending a very strong message to Josh, who, for his part, is feeling sick, is tired, he's got a cold. He's really giving her the brush off very, very hard. And I feel so bad for her because she's being straightforward. She's being honest about her feelings, her desires, and he's turning her down. So her reaction, of course, we've seen it before. She starts catastrophizing. You don't love me. You don't like my body, etc., etc. Repeating pattern that is very destructive that they've said they would stop, but they keep doing it anyway.
Their communication is just so awful.
Mm-hmm. And even when he says, okay, when I feel better, I'm going to fulfill your wish. Just give me a little bit of time. I mean, does he even hear her? Does he even know what she's saying?
I'm not sure.
And I really don't understand now how this couple even came together because there doesn't seem to be any affection between the two of them. There's nothing touchy-feely whatsoever. Even if you have a cold, even if you're feeling really tired, you could put your arm around your wife. You could give her a hug. That's not so bad, is it?
I don't know. Is it just the cold? Or does he just feel like she's way too controlling with her money and keeps throwing it in his face?
Oh.
And he's now emotionally disconnected because he feels so small.
Interesting angle. The emasculation angle. Could
Yeah.
be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be too much for him to take, and his ego is taking a battering, and so this is his way of coping with it by withholding.
Yeah, because he's not connected with her right now.
Yeah, for sure. Not connected. Yeah. And next, we did not see James and Tata. We did spend a lot of time with Shekinah and Sarper, but no thank you.
We don't talk about the...
No thank you. Okay, I think it's time. What do you think, Amy? Is it time?
I think it's time. Let's do it.
Okay. This October, Amy and I are so very proud to welcome a 90-day fiance / before the 90 days cast member to the show in an exclusive interview. This person is one of the most beloved cast members of 90 Day history, and he will share so much of his story with us, things that we didn't see, things that we didn't know. So please don't miss this episode, which we plan to release on October 2nd. So, Amy, will you do the honors and reveal who this special guest is?
David Dangerfield of David and Sheila.
So exciting.
Oh,
so
my
exciting.
God.
I love them so much.
The most genuine, honest, heartwarming couple we have ever seen on this entire show. Of every rendition, of every spinoff. They are my absolute favorite couple. And had you told us that we were going to get to interview, I mean, any of the cast members, but let alone David,
Yeah.
no, my brain would not be able to. No, I'm still having difficulties accepting this new reality.
I know it's going to be interesting because I think that you and I are both going to be just so overwhelmed when he comes to visit us that it'll be hard to actually speak. But rest assured, we're going to ask him some really good questions. We're going to have an amazing conversation with him. And I just can't wait to find out more about what he's been up to, how things are going, all of the things. So please come and listen to our episode, which will be on October 2nd. It's going to be great.
Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is going to be so much fun. I mean, it's already been so much fun planning it, and it's been so difficult to not say anything to our listeners and to not post anything. And but
Every
okay,
time I think about David and Sheila, I always think about that scene at the airport when he was leaving and they were looking at each other through the glass and they were signing each other how much they loved each other. And remember, we were both crying because it was just so heartfelt. It was so palpable. Their love was so real, is so real. So I am beyond thrilled that he's coming to talk to us.
And you and I aren't teary people,
nope,
at all. So when I messaged you and I was like, "Did you see it?" And you're like, "Yep." Like, "Yep, yeah, I was, yep, bawling." Yeah,
lost it.
I'm not even embarrassed to say it because it was just, it really played with the heartstrings.
Pure. It's so pure.
Oh,
and this is such a rarity on 90 Day Fiancé to get a couple whose love is so pure and so true and can withstand anything. I love it. So come back, listen more. We will have good things for you in the future.
I'm so excited.
Before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find our show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week.